Alright, to verify that we are receiving or on the correct terminal or circuit, we're going to change the pin over to the 1-2 shift solenoid up by the computer. Okay. So we move it to that terminal. Then we're going to go back around to the ohm meter, and we're going to see if we get a reading, and we should. And we get a reading of 22.2 ohms. Okay, and this is from the 1-2 shift solenoid. Okay, and reading this from the fuse panel and from the computer terminal. Okay. Okay, so here we go, 22.2 ohms, and that's because the voltage wire is connected to the shift solenoid 1 and 2, 2 and 3, and also to the torque converter clutch solenoid. So what we're going to do also is see if we get a reading from the torque converter clutch solenoid, and that would be terminal 42. So we're going to move it to terminal 42 and see if we get a reading from the torque converter clutch solenoid. So we are ohming these solenoids from the outside, and here we go with 23.9 ohms. So we see the torque converter clutch solenoid is okay. We see that the 1-2 shift solenoid is okay, but the only one we seem to be having a problem with when we connect the connector back up to the transmission is the 2-3 shift solenoid. Okay, so here is the TCC reading, torque converter clutch solenoid reading. Now we're going to go back and put it back to the 2-3 shift solenoid, and we should get the OL once again. And there it is. We have the OL. So something is bad. We know we have a problem now on the inside of the transmission. It could be the internal wire harness. It could be the bad 2-3 shift solenoid. But we do know now that we need to go inside of the transmission and by the valve body. So this is where we're going to go next.
Now what we want to do, now that we're underneath this vehicle, we want to make sure that we can do a check on the solenoid. We already established that something inside this transmission is not right. We did the meter, the ohms test, and we saw that it was not showing any ohms. So therefore, what we're going to do is drop this pan. You got to take out these pan bolts all the way around, and take the pan down so we can get to the shift solenoids. This is a 4L60E. Now, this has a drain plug right here. You can drain the fluid by loosening this drain plug and letting it come down, or you can just take the pan bolts out. If you got a wide enough catch pan like what we have here, it's a wide pan here that you see, then you can just take the pan down. What we're going to do here, I'm going to take the pan down. So we take the bolts down first. Okay, hopefully you can see this here very well. There's the pan. You take the bolts out. And there's the bolts. Going all the way around. When you take the pan down, you will see something that looks like this. Okay. You have solenoids on this end. There are two, one there and one there. Right here. Then you go to the back. This is the pressure solenoid. And this is the manifold pressure switch. Right here. Manifold pressure switch. And then in the back. Right here. We have the shift solenoid. So those are the shift solenoids. You have on the outside the 1-2 shift solenoid, and on the inside the 2-3 solenoid. This solenoid, the 2-3 shift solenoid, is closest to the accumulator housing. So it's in the middle between the accumulator housing and the 1-2 shift solenoid. So what we're going to do is take this out. The way you take it out, they have a plastic clip here. You pull it and you just push it out the way like that. Get it out the way. Now, one other thing. Right in here is a clip. It's this clip right here. And I'm just editing. So after you push that out of the way, you move this out of the way, there is a clip right here. You pull this clip out. You could use a pick or a little small screwdriver. Hook on the clip, pull it out, but make sure you put your other hand behind here. Behind it. I have one hand, so I can't do that. Why? Because the 1-2 have a spring behind it, and you don't want the valve sticking out. And so is the 2-3 doesn't have a spring, but you still don't want anything coming out. So what you do, you pull the spring out, which I just pulled it out. And here's the spring. It holds the solenoid in, okay, within the valve body. Then you take the valve body, or excuse me, the solenoid, and just pull it out. Pull it out. And bring it down. Okay. Now, remember, we didn't get any ohms reading. So what we're going to do is check this solenoid. Now, what you could do, in the back of this solenoid are two metal prongs, one here. You can try to go this way and check them with those metal prongs, but it's easiest to just go to the ones on the back, those metal prongs on the back. And what you want to do, okay, is set this here, and you want to touch your ohm meter to one prong and to the other prong, okay, and see what the reading is going to be. So set your meter to the ohms reading, okay, set at ohms, and then take your one lead and touch it to this prong. Take your other lead and touch it to that prong. and note the reading. Okay, I have only one hand. Maybe I can touch them both by holding, let me see here, I'm holding both of these in one hand. Okay, I'm touching both of these metal pieces. And then look at your meter. The meter is reading OL, the same as what it was reading when we were touching it up by the fuse panel. So what this means that this solenoid is bad. Okay, it's not in the wiring, it's in the solenoid. It could not be controlled. There must be an internal short here. Has to be, because there is no resistance. The resistance has broken down. Now, if you touch a good solenoid, as you saw up there, it would read around 22 ohms. So let me see if I can get a good solenoid. Here we have a better solenoid. And I'm touching the two pieces there in the back. And you can see over at the meter, it's reading 20.4. Make it okay. I'm missing the connection. There you go. One hand. Okay, 20.4. Now, the solenoid that we took out of the vehicle is reading, we have that one there, and it's reading OL. Okay, open. So, we found out that the solenoid is bad. Now, if we look at the scan tool, once we've changed the solenoid, you see we're going from first to second to third gear and to fourth gear. And 2-3 solenoid open short to ground is staying at no, even though we're at fourth gear. Now, before, when you go to around third gear, it would, and try to go to fourth, it would go to fourth and default back to third, and all the solenoids would be turned off. And you will see there was a short to ground on the 2-3 shift solenoid. Now again, this is after changing it. We do not see that anymore. Okay, so we go through the gears again. And you see off and on, and there's in fourth gear there. And the 2-3 shift solenoid is not a short to ground. Now, let me tell you something here. Those are 2 shift solenoids. You had one that was bad. If your vehicle has 100,000 miles on it, change both shift solenoids. They only cost about $15, $20 a piece. Do this so that you will not have to climb underneath the vehicle and change the other one. Okay, if it has been hammering for 100,000 miles, it is worn out. The other one will go sooner or later. So change both solenoids. Okay? Alright, until next time.